controversy though, because everyone's like, dude, this bullshit. I mean, it started off with like doctors coming out and saying you need to fucking cancel Joe Rogan, you need to cancel Joe Rogan. I want to start off by stating this first and foremost, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this. I don't want to cancel Joe Rogan. I don't. In the grand scheme of things, Joe Rogan's anti-vaxxer takes are unfortunately now making up a large chunk of its fucking content. Okay. But like, that's not what Joe Rogan is supposed to be about. Okay. And I still enjoy Joe Rogan. So I don't want to let go of the podcast I forced all of my female guests to watch when they're here. So let's watch what he has to say. But basically, this is his address to Spotify.
Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about two episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about two. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone.
Like, for the record, these two men that he is referencing here, they are absolutely, without a doubt, like, these guys are cranks, okay? They're charlatans, they're cranks. This is what they do. They traffic misinformation about vaccines, okay? This is not like, ooh, I accidentally had some people on who said some crazy shit. Like, no, this is what they do. Like, he had people on that go on like Alex Jones, okay? Like InfoWars grifters. These are snake oil salesmen. These are grifters. They have ridiculous fucking takes on the COVID vaccine, and platforming them while you yourself are a vaccine skeptic is really insane. Like, actually fucking insane. How is Rogan has had Alex Jones in the past? How is this different? Because these guys are abusing they're abusing their background and making it seem as though they are actually authorities on the subject matter that they're covering, which Joe Rogan will literally defend. Okay? So them having credentials in this situation makes it so much worse than Alex Jones, because Alex Jones is talking about like psychic pedophile vampires or whatever the fuck. Okay? But when Alex Jones talks about like vaccines are actually turning you gay, that's one thing. Okay? But when you have someone who is like literally credentialed, okay, or had credentials in the past, use that, that is, you know, it's a little bit different. Like, and he's going to defend them in this video as well, so you'll understand why it's different. And when Alex Jones says something about vaccines, you're like, that's Alex Jones, you know? People who like him are going to fucking listen to him. But when you have a massive fucking audience and you're bringing on a doctor, okay, and you're saying this is a doctor, this is the most qualified doctor to talk about this shit, and then the doctor is a fucking crank who literally has like a media tour and a GoFundMe to raise like $60 million because, you know, everyone is attacking him all the fucking time. You know what I mean? It's fucked up.
Joe feels dank, man.
Anyway, there are so many problems, okay? It's a classic appeal to authority fallacy, right? Yes, but that doesn't matter. Just because your fucking debate brain is like, oh, well, that's an appeal to authority fallacy, that doesn't change the reality that for like the overwhelming majority of laymen, they see a motherfucker who says they're a doctor, who says they have the credentials, and they go, wow, this is a fucking doctor that's saying something very different than what mainstream media is saying. Okay, no one thinks about this from that same point of view, which is why I have to describe this stuff regularly. Just like I have to constantly tell you that the top of the hour ad break is here.
Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least...
Dr. Peter McCullough, okay, is the dude that Dr. Peter McCullough is the dude that like got fucking banned from his own original his actual fucking hospital that he used to work at. Okay, he is not a what do you call it? He's not personally a reliable narrator of COVID information. The reason why he got banned is because he was spreading COVID misinformation, and this is what he turned into. Okay, he turned into a guy who fucking shills. 1 year of this nonsense. And the other dude is Robert Malone. Robert Malone is the most famous one, who has routinely fucking lied about the mRNA vaccine. Like, that's all he does. He has lied about his involvement with the mRNA vaccine, greatly exaggerating his mRNA vaccine development, like his work on the mRNA vaccine, making it seem as though he himself is personally responsible for the fucking creation of the mRNA vaccine, when he actually had to, dude literally invented mRNA vaccines, of course. That's not true. That's not true. That is a lie. Not only is that a lie, when asked if he actually had invented the mRNA vaccines or what his involvement was, he has openly stated, because he can't lie, okay? He can't lie about it. He can lie to Joe Rogan, but he can't lie to other people that are trying to, you know, get actual information out of him on the record, so that he can lie to Joe Rogan in a conversation and then Joe Rogan can lie on his behalf. But he personally, if a media outlet asks him, like, you know, did you invent the fucking mRNA vaccine? He openly admits that he didn't. But patents ultimately don't mean shit, okay? My brother has a patent. He got a patent when he was 19 years old, okay? For, I think it's like it's like a thermodynamic a generator. He built a fucking generator in college. That if he was a fucking anti-vaxxer crank, it doesn't matter. I would be like, shut the fuck up. You're a crank. Having a patent doesn't mean shit. As a chatter pointed out, Theranos, Elizabeth Holmes, the person going to jail for lying to everyone about her incredible medical technology, the blood work that she was capable of doing, that was a total fucking lie. She had patents. Okay? Patents don't mean shit. They only mean shit to the fucking person, to the layman that is listening to Joe Rogan, okay?
Partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is.
This is bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. This like, oh, I'm an independent thinker, and that's the reason why I did this. Like, these are highly credentialed doctors. Independent thinkers and rational skeptics regularly exercise skepticism towards mainstream narratives, which they should. I don't have a problem with that, okay? Mainstream media does have a tendency to get things wrong, which I will talk about, because there are things that Joe Rogan says here that I agree with to a certain degree. But they never, ever apply that same level of skepticism to a crank doctor wearing a fucking COVID-19 tie saying you should shove a neti pot in your fucking nose. And that's the way to deal with COVID. What the fuck? Why don't skeptics ever apply that same level of critical thinking to the side that they agree with? It's so fucking annoying. And I know why. And that's because Joe Rogan believes in a certain thing. And the reason why he's having these people on is not because he wants to, platform narratives that mainstream media is too afraid to fucking, platform truths that the mainstream media is too afraid to show. It's because he fucking agrees with them. That's why he has a meme folder. The signs are there. Joe Rogan is a fucking rich, out of touch old man now, okay? And even back then, even back when he first started the podcast, he was still rich and out of touch, but he at least had like, extra seasoning and oomph to it, because it was just like fun. And he had fun guests on, and he didn't exclusively fucking talk about dumb shit. My man has literally Facebook meme folders, man. He has a meme folder full of Facebook memes that he brings out when he's talking to fucking doctors and shit. Are you kidding me? That is literally just, that's an old man, okay? That's not Joe Rogan. That's not, the ex-Fear Factor host, UFC commentator Joe Rogan. That's your fucking dad, okay?
Master Chef as pause.
You sound hurt that your guy changes? No, I mean, this is a person I looked up to, and I still recognize what he did as valuable from the point of view of independent media. So as someone who literally started off his career in independent media and saw what Joe Rogan was able to do for himself and build a major audience for himself and one that even fucking can compete against mainstream media and other mainstream media outlets, of course I'm going to be fucking sad about that, dude. What do you mean? Why wouldn't I? And the reality is look at this, dude. Look, everyone is on board. Everyone is just dude, you fucking killing it, whatever. You keep going, keep doing you. Of course, not a single person. Tulsi Gabbard, just keep being you. This man is not under serious threat, okay? He's not. And it's not going to happen.
Hey, Hasan, I bet you could get better quality on our camera.
No, he doesn't sound hurt. He's holding media personnel responsible for spreading dangerous information. Wait, what? Joe Rogan was a career comedian, college dropout turned TV radio host who now makes money by attracting viewers, listeners by intentionally saying controversial things. Why take him seriously? I don't know. Because he has 5 million views on a fucking Instagram video that he posted of him talking to a camera for 9 fucking minutes. And, that he is arguably, demonstrably, incredibly fucking famous and incredibly fucking influential. So, him spreading COVID misinformation is very damaging. Including in the video where he's like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. This is like people looking at Fox News and being like, Fox News is not mainstream media. Fox News is not mainstream media when they're the most successful and the most popular mainstream media outlet. You know what I mean? Y'all are just dumb if you don't realize that. You're stupid if you don't realize that Joe Rogan has the power almost of mainstream media at this point.
Such gaming.
And for people saying, I did run an ad, yes. For people saying he's not spreading misinformation, he is spreading misinformation here. He's beefing up the intellectual honesty of the 2 guests that he had that are actual fucking grifters, straight up grifters, to a degree that they get to go on Alex Jones's podcast and not on fucking they can't go on Fox News even.
I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact.
He's debate mode. He's not oh man, 1, he defended his fucking guests and the integrity of his guests, and those guests are literally just cranks, straight cranks. And if you don't recognize that, especially Dr. Robert Malone, if you don't recognize that those guys are just fucking conservative grifters who are spreading anti-vaccine misinformation when they themselves are fucking vaccinated by.
For instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media.
Bullshit. That's a fucking lie. There was never a 100% efficacy rate, okay? The reason why people got fucking banned off social media was because they said vaccines don't fucking work. And even then, they didn't get banned off social media. Tim Pool didn't get banned off social media, and he still lies about fucking vaccine rates. Joe Rogan doesn't get banned off social media. He lies about vaccines, and he's skeptical about the vaccines regularly. That's a fucking bullshit lie. No one got fucking banned off social media for saying that vaccines are not 100% effective at stopping people from catching COVID. Okay? That's bullshit. That's not a real thing. People are literally conflating an actual outright lie with something that is not a lie, okay? If you say vaccines are not 100% effective at stopping you from getting COVID, that's not a lie. That's the truth. And that was something that even I said. We covered breakthrough cases from the jump. Did I get fucking banned? No, because there's a difference between what I was saying, which is the truth, which is that the vaccines themselves are not 100% effective at fucking stopping you from getting COVID, and vaccines are not working. That's a lie. That is just a 100% lie. So this is one of the more frustrating parts about people spreading COVID misinformation, because they fucking lie and then change the narrative after the fact to fit their new purpose. Oh, dude, I never actually said, like, oh man, actually people were getting banned for saying that the COVID vaccines are not 100% effective at stopping you from getting COVID. It's like, no, vaccines have always been there to stop you from dying once you get COVID, okay? And even then it's not 100%, but it damn near is close to 100%, okay? Goalposts constantly shifting. That's bullshit. Unless you're talking about me, unless you're talking about Joe Rogan, like, you can't misunderstand what people are saying or what the mainstream media narrative is and then fucking turn around and say, oh, goalposts are shifting. No, goalposts never shifted. You just didn't understand it back then and you don't understand it now. Anyway.
You can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID. You would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Now, that's
bullshit. So we established, I hope everyone understands that is just a lie, an outright lie. No one was banned. No one is fucking getting banned for simply stating exactly what is on fucking CNN, okay? That was on CNN for months in the same time frame that Joe is claiming that people were getting banned off social media for saying. They were quite literally reporting on it. Mainstream media was quite literally reporting on it. Don't just say you're delusional. Explain why you think I'm delusional and we can have a conversation about it, okay?
Accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media.
Here's the other problem. This is actually true. Okay? So here is where I will turn around and shit on the communicators, okay? The science communicators. Now, Joe Rogan is not 100% right on this, okay? He's not 100% right on this. But from the layman's point of view, he is correct. Because the layman doesn't understand the difference between like the cloth mask not being as efficient at stopping COVID or whatever, and how different that is from N95s. We've known since day one that the properly fitted N95 is the appropriate way to prevent giving people COVID, or surgical masks. I talked about this before. If you remember, during the time of COVID, my mom had to get an MRI. I went into the hospital and I had a cloth mask on. And the person there was like, you have to put this surgical mask on. And I thought to myself, what the fuck? Why am I putting a mask on? I already have a mask on. That's when I first realized, and I do this, I talk about this shit, I read the news. So even I was duped into thinking that like cloth masks are still effective, okay? So that's something that even I will admit. I, as someone who reads the fucking news, okay, and spreads and disseminates information for a living, was also duped by the efficacy of the cloth mask. They are ineffective in comparison to way more effective versions. Okay? So listen. That is a gigantic failure on behalf of the institutions of the authorities that are supposed to be fucking communicating this adequately. Okay. So there is definitely, absolutely without a doubt, a breakdown and a failure in how proper authorities communicated the message. Now, of course, that doesn't make Joe Rogan right, because he's making it harder for them to communicate a message. if you're Joe Rogan and you have millions and millions of people who listen to you, who hang on every word, you can't turn around and fucking criticize the CDC for failing to communicate the message adequately when you yourself are doing your very best to muddy the waters with misinformation.
Senpai noticed me.
Okay.
Smiley face.
And that also doesn't justify all the other things that he's talking about here. Because the reason why people thought his podcast with McCullough and his podcast with Malone and numerous other instances where he's like tried to debate Lord his way out of fucking how vaccine skepticism is a reasonable position to take is not because he said, oh, cloth masks are ineffective, or actually the vaccines are not 100% good at stopping you from getting COVID. Those aren't the reasons why people are criticizing him. People are criticizing him because he had Neti Pot Andy, okay, on his podcast, talking about how you should fucking put iodine neti pots in your nose and you'll fucking prevent COVID. And that when you get the vaccine, the impact of the vaccine is worse than getting COVID. Like, those are all lies. Like, you can't just fucking run around and lie like this. Why put the blame on communicators and not the sources and authorities from which they write their communication? No, the communicators are at fault. I mean, like the CDC, for sure. I've said this a million times, man. I think Anthony Fauci did kind of a fucking piss poor job. Anyway, let's keep going.
Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the...
I don't even know if that's true. And also, again, State Department. People saying COVID-19 came from a lab was not like, that was not something that people got fucking banned for. Okay?
Ye 7 months.
And for the record, especially because that was literally State Department propaganda originally. Like, that was what straight up, like what Joe Rogan is talking about here. And the reason why it's like so fucking annoying is that, one, Jon Stewart fucking said it. Two, it did not come from a lab. You do not know that. It is not, it's a theory, just like the zoonotic disease spread theory, okay? It's just a theory, but politicians said it. Mike Pompeo said it on a live briefing. It was immediately communicated to all the PR outlets. Okay?
On the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those.
So now that we established the three main theories that were fucking supposedly banned were not things that people got actually banned for and are not even true, what Joe Rogan is saying, okay? Let's put this into a different perspective for a second, okay? I want to describe something to you. Even if all three of those things he said were 100% true, which they are not, okay? Even if all three of those things he said were 100% true, that still does not mean that you can get away with spreading COVID misinformation regularly and spreading vaccine misinformation regularly that is stopping people from getting the fucking vaccine and causing them to die when they get COVID, when they could so easily defend themselves from this preventable fucking disease, okay?
Two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation. I do not know if they're right. I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them.
Oh, dude, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who has conversation. That's bullshit. The Just Asking Questions, Just Curious Andy podcaster edition.
Do I get things wrong? Absolutely. I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it because I'm interested in telling the truth.
There was a time and place when I would have said yes to this about Joe Rogan. And I think he probably does this for other shit still to this day. But this COVID is not one of them. Rhonda Patrick. He debated Rhonda Patrick. He debated Sanjay Gupta. He debated every single person that's ever fucking told him he's wrong about the anti-vax shit. Because that's his thing. That's his thing. He's like, no, I'm a vaccine skeptic. Okay? Straight up. And not only that, but we watched the fucking video of Jamie, like Joe Rogan fucking dealing with Jamie, where he was like, I don't know. I know what you're talking about, Jamie.
I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions.
By the way,
Hasan, who is a vaccine expert. I'm interested in finding out what is correct, and I'm also finding out how people come to these conclusions and what the facts are. Now, because of this controversy, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes with these controversies, but Neil Young has removed his music from the platform of Spotify, and Joni Mitchell and apparently some other people want to as well. I'm very sorry that they feel that way. I most certainly don't want that. I'm a Neil Young fan. I've always been a Neil Young fan. I'll tell you a story at the end of this about that. One of the things that Spotify wants to do that I agree with is that at the beginning of these controversial podcasts, like specifically ones about COVID, is to put a disclaimer and say that you should speak with your physician, and that these people and the opinions that they express are contrary to the opinions of the consensus of experts, which I think is very important. Sure, have that on there. I'm very happy with that. Also, I think if there's anything that I've done that I could do better is have more experts with differing opinions right after I have the controversial ones. I would most certainly be open to doing that. And I would like to talk to some people that have differing opinions on those podcasts in the future. We'll see. You know, I do all the scheduling myself, and I don't always get it right.
So this part is like great, but you know, ultimately, I don't know what is going to happen with this. Okay, like he always falls back on like, I'm not liable. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm an idiot. But like, it doesn't sound like he doesn't believe what he's saying. It sounds like he believes what he's saying in this entire fucking compilation. And numerous other times that I've shown you since that compilation came out, where Joe Rogan absolutely does have a position on this. And he will quite literally fucking advocate for that position and regularly defend that position in front of people like Sanjay Gupta, and then flex about it afterwards.
Damage is already done.
So I don't think that like, you know, I don't think that that's gonna fix itself, because what needs to be fixed in this situation is Joe Rogan. People will get mad at me and say, "Oh, dude, it's just because he has a difference in opinion." But like, no, he's just wrong. And there is nothing else I can say other than he's wrong, and he's spreading misinformation purposely. And also on top of that, that misinformation that he's spreading purposely is dangerous, because people watch him and then fucking, you know, see him as the peak, like, physical specimen that they want to be like. They stan him. And then they don't get the fucking vaccine. And at this stage, it like, you know, it doesn't even fucking matter at this stage. Like, people are just not going to get it. Like, they are, even if Joe Rogan turned around and said, like, you know, honestly, I was wrong. I'm really sorry. Everyone should get vaccinated. It's actually very safe. It's very effective in preventing you from going to the hospital. I don't even think that people will turn around and be like, yeah, that's right. I'm sure that because they're so far down that fucking rabbit hole now, that they'll say Joe Rogan is compromised, and they'll move on to some other outlet, right? As people have done with Fox News and Trump. So it's not just an opinion when you are going along as one of the largest fucking outlets that spreads vaccine misinformation. Okay.
These podcasts are very strange because they're just conversations, and oftentimes,
bro, Rogan takes an objective view to the experts. You're so dumb. Yeah, no, totally. Anyone who was in here since the beginning of this video and has seen the many times that Joe Rogan has like not just engaged in a conversation, and still has a position that like he is just an honest arbiter of objective truths, like, you're silly. You're a silly bitch.
I have no idea what I'm going to talk about until I sit down and talk to people, and that's why some of my ideas are not that prepared or fleshed out, because I'm literally having them in real time. But I do my best, and they're just conversations, and I think that's also the appeal of the show. It's one of the things that makes it interesting. So I want to thank Spotify for being so supportive during this time, and I'm very sorry that this is happening to them and that they're taking so much heat from it. And so now the Neil Young story. When I first of all, I'm not mad at Neil Young.
Like, he's not sorry that he's spreading misinformation, bro. He's sorry that he got Spotify in trouble. Like, this isn't a video where he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm spreading dangerous misinformation that could have possibly caused people to fucking die. Okay? He's just like, I'm sorry that I, hurt the Spotify bottom line a little bit by, getting wrapped up in some controversy about fucking COVID misinformation. Like, you're not sorry at all. He doesn't care. And I don't think he does. I don't think he's going to change. I think he's going to have like one or two fucking people that he doesn't agree with and then continue to spread COVID misinformation. That's it. So at this stage, it's like, what do you do? I mean, like I said, I don't give a shit about Spotify banning him or anything like that. That's not the solution. Okay, deplatforming does absolutely work. But in a case of someone like Joe Rogan, that is going to cause, I feel like, more problems. Okay? Because it's not Alex Jones. This isn't Alex Jones. The bulk of his commentary, the bulk of Alex Jones' commentary is reactionary, dangerous, literally has led people to fucking go and like harass victims of Sandy Hook. Okay? Joe Rogan is ultimately still someone who can get away with saying, I'm just an entertainer, I'm just a comedian, I'm just a dumbass. I just wish he would stop spreading COVID misinformation. Demonstrate growth, move on. Do have people that he disagrees with on the COVID thing, and have actual communicators demonstrate what the truth is, what the actual scientific consensus is on vaccines. You say that too sometimes, Hasan? I am a dumbass, and I say wrong things all the time, but I try to get everything right. Okay? I don't think I have a point of view on a particular subject that is like this fucking black and white, that where I'm on the wrong side of. Like, you can say my anti-imperialist takes that go against the Western sentiment are wrong, okay? And they're dangerous or whatever the fuck, right? But you could technically say that that is just a simple disagreement or a difference in opinion. Okay, that's not the same as like something that is as clear cut as vaccines are safe and effective.